Come one, come all. It's story time with an alchemist. The wisdom of all the world. Long time ago, in a land far off of an unknown area, the king, perplexed, sat up on his throne. And sitting on his throne, he wondered and thought. He considered his people, the fact that his people were lacking in basic wisdom in order to make their lives great. So the king pondered for many months. And then the king called out to his scribes, "Scribes, I have taken many months of thinking, considering the people and how they live their life. They live their life without purpose. They live their life without understanding. They live their life as if it has no meaning. What I would like for you to do, since you are the wisest counsels of the land, I would like for you to put together for me a book of all the wisdom, the great wisdom of the land, the great wisdom of the ages, so that we may be able to teach this to the people. So it must be put in a way that the people can understand it. It must be put in a way that the people can grasp it to be able to emulate this wisdom. So go and begin your task." A month goes by. The scribes are gathering books and gathering knowledge and wisdom from all over the land, sending out people to find new wisdom and new information and bringing it all to the library so that the scholars and the scribes can take days and nights going over the information. Until finally, after 3 months, the leader of the scribes, "Sire, we have come together and we have brought you the wisdom of all the ages, compiled in these 47 books. We will be able to teach the people the wisdom of the ages." The emperor took the books, went away for a week, and came back and asked the scribe, "Did you do your best work?" The scribe looked perplexed at the emperor, thinking that maybe the emperor read the 47 volumes in such a short time and realized that something was missing. The scribe took the books back and said, "I shall return, sire." They go back, and for another 30 days, they chop down the information and brings it down into 10 books, brings it back to the emperor. "Sire, we have brought you and whittled down the wisdom of the ages to the most important information that can be taught to the people and grasped and then lived out in their everyday life. They are here in these 10 books." The emperor said, "Okay." The emperor goes away for 3 days, returns back, and said, "Did you do your best?" The scribe, again perplexed, thinking that he has failed his emperor, takes the 10 books back, goes over them, brings in additional scholars from all over the land, and for 40 days they pour through these 10 books, eliminating any types of wisdom that may be duplicates or that any wisdom that may not be good for the people or the land, until they return back to the emperor, frustrated, knowing that they have done everything possible to satisfy this request of their emperor, of their king, and says, "Sire, again we have poured over these books. We have poured over the wisdom from all over the world. And with the most brilliant scribes, we have taken the information and tested it out for ourselves. And we have broken it down into this one book. And Emperor, sir, no matter what you say, this is the greatest wisdom of all the land, my liege." The emperor sits back, looks at his scribe, and said, well done. I will now read it for the first time." The The scribe looked perplexed at the emperor and said, "What do you mean, sir, sire, that you will read it for the first time?" The emperor said, "When you brought me the first 47 books, I had an arrangement that I had to go and take care of and go visit. I never read them. But I merely asked you, had you done your best before I was prepared to read them, but you took them back. So I figured you hadn't done your best. When you brought the books back, and there was only 10 books, I fell ill and I did not have time to read them. So I asked you again before I got ready to read them, did you do your best? You took them back. This time, you expressed even before I asked, when you brought this one volume back, that you have done your absolute best. And since this is your best, then I will finally read it." The scribe walked away, dejected, not understanding the emperor. But in time, the people of the land, from the one volume, gained incredible wisdom, understanding how to live their life, understanding how to handle their money, understanding how they can best take care of all their family and friends and the land and the government and all the people of their land. And in this time, these people became one of the most powerful nations in the world. These people elevated themselves into a golden age. This story has no country, has no emperor. This story has happened many times over. We can find it in the Chinese dynasties. We can find it in the golden age of Kemet. We can find it through the Renaissance and the understanding that came from Florence. We can find it in the Aztecs and the Mayans and so many other cultures where similar stories, similar things occurred in their own history, where the emperor requested the wisest information to be passed along to the people, and the people grew wonderfully. As many of you know, I read the book, The Richest Man in Babylon. And as part of that understanding, Emperor Sargon needed to do the exact same thing to bring his people out of where only a small few had the wealth, but using Arcad to teach 1,000, to that 1,000 teaching 10,000. Babylon became the wealthiest city-state for its time. Akhenaten proved the same thing in Kemet. Sun Tzu brought wisdom to the warring states of China. This has happened so many times in history. It needs to happen now. It needs to happen where we as a country and we as a world take the wisest wisdom of all the world, combine it together, whittle it down into its very essence, into its very best, and then spread that wisdom to all the world through finance, through religion, through all other aspects of life, through your health, marriages, everything in your life. The finest wisdom should be given with no concern of who is on top and who is on bottom. No concerns of what your preference is or the next person's preference. The only thing that matters is the wisest. Now, this story, I also use it as a way of managing my employees, managing my children as they grew. Oftentimes my children would come to me and they would have a paper or something written that they had to do for school. And when they would bring it to me, I would ask them, did you do your best? Is this your absolute best? Most of the time in the early stages of their life, they would take it back and write more and do more to it until they finally realize, just do your absolute best the first time. That is actually the moral of this story. When this story is taught, it is taught that every time that do your absolute best the first time. Do not bring to someone mediocrity. Do not bring them less than your best. That is the normal, easy lesson that you teach. Do your best the first time and you won't have to continuously repeat. When I got ready to do a business plan, it took me 18 months. Although I was bringing slightly less than my best every time I brought it to my mentor, he would always ask me, did you do your absolute best? And because I already knew the story and had been teaching my children this, I knew what he was getting at. So for the information that I could find, the information that I knew as I was growing and developing in this knowledge, every time I would bring my best. So in everything that you do, bring your best. When you work out, bring your best. In your relationship, bring your best. In your money, bring your best. As you work, bring your best. Build your business, bring your best. Fix your credit if you're part of financial alchemy. Bring me your best. Do not send me substandard. Do not expect substandard. Bring me your best. Because only your best will do. And what you do bring me, I'm going to assume is your best, and we will work from there to bring out a greater version of yourself. But in every aspect of your life, you should always be bringing your best, because you, as far as you know, have only this life. Have only this life. No one has proven heaven or hell. So you only have this life. You have right now. And in your right now, are you bringing your best? Are you doing your best? Are you bringing out that alpha so that your best is personified? If you're not, bring out your best. Do not present it to the emperor, the king, without it being your best. And as far as one volume of wisdom, there is no one book that we can all claim has all the wisdom of the world. Everyone can find wisdom in each book that they read, whether it's a religious book, whether it's a self-help book, whether it's an economic book, a textbook, doesn't matter what it is. There is wisdom all around us. There are books that have more wisdom than others. If you ask me for a reading list, I'll probably tell you, if you want to know about financing, building wealth, start reading The Richest Man in Babylon. It is the original book that most of these other books get their information from. If you want to understand sexuality, I would tell you to get a book on Tantra or the Tao of Sexology. If you want a book on being a great leader, read the Tao and read Sun Tzu's Art of War. There are so many books that you can learn from. Find the connections. If you want an overall general book of understanding spirituality and your current who you are, I would say read the Kabbalion. Understand that before you read something else about your spirituality and about who you are. Because if you can't get past the understanding of the Kabbalion, this is why you see things in race. You see that my skin tone makes a difference. If you understand and truly understand the Hermetics, you'll realize that melanin means nothing other than a physical protection from the sun, a drawing in of energy from the sun. Take away the sun, what good is melanin? If you take away the sun, humans will exist on this planet maybe for another 100 to 1,000 years, depending relative to where we are in our current status. But through underwater heat vents, volcanic heat vents, we may be able to build some type of dome structure that will protect us from the cold, be able to reproduce oxygen, gravity, those sort of things that we would lose, be able to grow plants, maintain some level of warmth. Maybe 100,000 years we'd be able to exist, and we can get down to the bottom of the ocean, be closer to the heat vents at the bottom of the ocean and build underwater cities. Probably could live a couple thousand years, depending upon what the planet hits in that process and what else happens. It may only be a couple minutes, who knows. Fact of the matter is, take away the sun, your melanin counts for nothing. You don't understand the Hermetics. You don't understand that energy. All is energy. Your energy. I'm energy. Everything vibrates. Energy doesn't have a race. So dispense with that. When you dispense with that, you see the world a lot different and a lot clearer. Now, the law of duality also showed, well, within the law of mentalism, there is duality. The law of divine paradox, the law of divine paradox, which clearly says that, yes, although we are all energy and race doesn't matter, the collective consciousness of this planet, race matters. So you do take it into account, but not in a way that makes you think that you're superior to others. This goes for any race. Doesn't matter what race you are. Your nationality doesn't make you better. You should do your best simply because you want the results of having the best results. You should do your best because in this one life that you have, this one current life, this current existence that you have, you should want to achieve the greatest amount of results from whatever it is that you do. Your body, your mind, your relationships, every aspect of your life that brings you elation, you should want the absolute best and not settle for anything less than that. So as the emperor looked for the greatest wisdom in the land, so should you look for the greatest wisdom that will give you the greatest results of your life. And guess what? Your path may not be the same as the path of the person next to you. But because your path is different, it doesn't give you the right to judge the path of the person next to you. And the person next to you doesn't have the right to judge your path. Because although your path may be different, if both of you come to the point of elation, what does it really matter if you judge theirs or they judge yours, as long as you get your results without harming anyone else? So this has been Storytime with an Alchemist. It's your Coach Renz. I really appreciate you guys being here. Please continue to support us on Patreon at patreon.com/Coach Renz, and continue to hit subscribe and hit that bell icon down at the bottom. If you're over on Facebook, come over and join us on YouTube. Remember, you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable.